Hello, this is Dina Toledo, and this is my Media and Information Literacy Issues Learning Segment proposal for EDTC 627. So, I have three goals for this project. One is to make positive, socially responsible contributions and exhibit empathetic behaviors online that builds relationships and community. Two, to be curious and critically examine resources. And three, use digital tools in a safe, ethical, and legal practice that protects intellectual rights and property. In sixth grade, one of our big units is a research unit. Our theme is never giving up. And throughout the unit, we look at different people who were faced with different challenges in their lives and faced adversity and never gave up and did so much and inspired us to do phenomenal things. Um, but the big overarching question is, how can we find information about a specific person that is accurate and relevant to the topic that's being researched? Now, for sixth graders, most of the time, if you give them a list of questions or if you ask them to come up with their own questions about a specific person, their go to find the answers is just to ask the entire question in Google. We know that Google will give us an answer, but most of the time, the answers come from an unreliable source. We know that our students are also in this, they're very technologically savvy and they rely a lot on Siri and Alexa to. And one of the big things that I find is that the kids aren't actually learning when we're doing a research unit. They're literally going in and just asking one of those platforms the question and regurgitating whatever information is back to me. And that's not the point of doing research. I want them to be able to look at a couple of pieces of information about a specific person and then use everything that they've learned from those three things, or three sources or four sources, whatever the amount of sources is. I want them to then tell me about the topic. If the person's Michelle Obama, read three or four articles about Michelle Obama. Don't just take the first line that Google gives or one of the AI tools that the students use to ask questions. The issues that go along with this and finding research, there's a media literacy issue and there's an information literacy issue. One is the media literacy issue is that students are vulnerable to scams when using social media and other websites because they think the information is relevant to them at the moment. What I mean by the information is relevant to them is ads. We know that most websites get ad revenue, but not all ads are appropriate for our students and not all of them are actually advertisements. Some of them are scams of different levels to get different information. Um, and we know that our kids, especially our younger students, are very, very vulnerable for these types of scams. The other issue is the information literacy issue. And again, students are just relying solely on the information that they get right from that first line of Google, which is called a Google snippet, for the answers to research questions instead of actually going in and reading articles or watching videos and finding the information from a reliable source, which again, this is what we're teaching them to do. These are the two things, and we want to make sure that these two skills that they are able to not only use them in class, but that the skills are they're able to go and apply them to other areas of their lives and their education. So there's actually two lessons that go into this. And the first one is checking for credible sources. So I found this really great checklist, and I've used one similar in the past, where the students, when we're doing research, they need to make sure that the website is credible. Before they can even read the information on the website, they need to find different things. Some of the things they need to make sure that the website is relevant. Is the author of the website um, clearly stated? Is the information trustworthy? Is when they're reading through the website, are there any mistakes? Those are some telltale signs that the website that they're using is credible or not. Um, we want to make sure that, again, they're not relying just on Wikipedia. I used to do a lesson a couple of years ago where I actually would go in and change Wikipedia pages so that the students would see, hey, anybody can just change Wikipedia. Not only can anybody change Wikipedia pages, but when that happens, it changes the Google snippet responses. We want to make sure that I'm not just telling the kids, but I'm showing them, hey, look, when I do this, this is what happens. And they see, oh, Miss Toledo isn't just saying this. This is actually true. She went in and she's changing Wikipedia in real time. We're looking at it on our devices and it is being changed. So, again, these are examples of not a website that's not totally credible. We want to make sure that we're showing our kids examples of, hey, this is a credible website, and not just showing them what the websites are and expecting them to figure it out themselves, but using different websites as models to show, okay, hey, this is a Britannica article. This is a credible source. Here's what you know. It shows that this is a credible website. There's an author, there's a date when this was published. Here's the information about this topic. And if we want to fact check, we can find another article that has all of the exact same information in it. This is going to be good later down the road for our students when eventually they're going on and they're researching and they're looking at current events topics. They're not just relying on one thing, because we know that there are a lot of times when we look at one thing and that's not the right information that we need. And the second lesson that would go into this is protecting yourself from clickbait and phishing scams. So we know that a lot of these websites get ad revenue. So there are different pop up ads that come up on our devices when we're looking at websites. There are times where a lot of those ads are not just pop up, hey, this is information. They're trying to get some information back from you. And most of our students are very vulnerable because when they see something, if it looks interesting to them, they'll just put their information and go from there. There was a couple of popular websites that were doing that with online shopping, and the kids would see fidget spinners and things of that nature popping up on websites um, that were just regular news websites that they were supposed to just be getting their news from. But what turned out, those websites were leaking all of their data to the black market or the dark web, and now these kids' information is out there. And we want to make sure that we're not only showing our kids what is happening, but making sure that we also protect them. And if we don't show them the bad that's out there, we can't protect them because they don't know what to look for. So, again, to make this a successful research unit, there are two lessons that need to be taught in the very beginning. And the first one is making sure that our students know what the credible sources are, how to find credible sources. Even we know that social media is a big thing. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, a lot of those social media platforms also put out relevant information, and the kids need to know, okay, this information is relevant and this is how I can prove it. These are the facts that support it, and this is what I saw in the video. And we also need to make sure that they are protecting themselves from all of these phishing and the ads and the clickbaits and all that, because we know that as they get older, there aren't many things attached to their names now, but once they start giving out birthday and address, there are these little things that could help somebody who is on the dark web figure out their passwords and different things like that, and it makes them a very easy target in the long run. So we want to make sure that Those are the two things that we're teaching. That way the kids are able to go in finally and go on websites and figure out, hey, this is relevant information. Hey, I need to put in my information, or it's asking for a name and an email that's not being given out to somebody else, and things of that nature. Again, we're doing all of that to make sure that our students are successful in terms of just doing basic internet searches and research in that way. Um, and that's basically it. And here are some credits for the photos that I used, and that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.